Hello and welcome to Greenfoot Lesson 11 at mrstewartslessons.com. If you've been following so far, you should have we're using the Fruit Wars game now. If you followed so far, you should have a pie ship that can drift around and bananas that drift around as well. If you haven't done this or you weren't able to get it to work, you can download this game at the bottom of lesson 11 at mrstewartslessons.com. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to make it so the pie ship disappears if it hits the banana. Later on we'll make a game over screen. Right now we'll just make it disappear. So I'm going to make a method. I'll type public void and I'll call the method hit bananas. Just going to make so I'm going to put that in there. So I want you to put in the method public void hit bananas. Up here I'll put a comment. It'll say and in the comment I'll say makes you don't have to put it in the comment if you don't want. That's optional, but I recommend it. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I want to make a variable for the banana that I'm actually going to hit. The type of the variable is going to be called actor, and I'm going to call the variable name bananas and equals, and I'm going to do the get intersecting object method, get one intersecting object method to see if we hit. We've done this before. Get one intersecting object, and I'll call it, and the kind of object we want is the bananas class. So you'll type in actor bananas equals get one intersecting object bananas dot class. Okay, if you've done that, what we're going to do now is we want to see, we only want this to happen if there actually is a banana intersecting us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if bananas exclamation point equals null. So this means if not equal null means it actually exists. This means not equal to, null means doesn't exist. So going backwards, not equal null means there actually is a banana that we hit. Then I'll do open curly brackets and close curly brackets. So I want you to put this in now, if bananas not equal null, and open and close curly bracket. And then what we're going to do next, we want to remove our ship from the world. That means we need to get the world so we can remove it. So I'll say create a variable for my world. I'll say world, my world equals, and we'll use the method getWorld. That allows me to get my world and actually do something with it. We use getWorld a lot when I want to add things or remove things from my world. So type in world, my world equals getWorld. So my world is now a variable that represents the world I'm in. So I'll type my world, and I'm going to use a method. This means we can use all the methods that are in my world. The method I want here is remove object. And the actor that we actually want to remove is the ship itself. So I'm going to remove the object this, and I'll put in a semicolon. So this will actually make my ship be removed when I hit a banana. And now I want to actually call my hit bananas method. So I'll go on up here, and under my move I'll hit control space, and one of my options should be hit bananas. So I'll pick the hit bananas method. Okay. Now I'll compile it and I'll run it. And if I'll notice what happens if I hit a banana, I disappear. Later on we'll make it a little bit fancier. We'll come up with a game over screen, but I haven't taught you how to put text on a screen yet. That'll be in the next lesson. Now, I want to make the pie ship. The pie ship's kind of helpless against the bananas now. We'd like to let the pie ship shoot back. So I want the pie ship to be able to shoot something. Since this is Fruit Wars, I'd like it to be able to shoot cherries at the bananas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new subclass of the space actors, not the actor class, but the space actors class. And I'll go to food and choose cherries as an image, and I'll call it cherries. This is my, so cherries is my, what I'm going to shoot. Okay. Now we're going to go and open the cherries code window. So create a new subclass called cherries and use the cherries image. You can open the code window. We're going to put just one thing in it. We're just going to make the cherries move forward by 10. And if I'll hit Control Space. Now you may wonder, don't we have to put in an X and a Y because we changed the move command? But in fact, the old move command is still there because because the new move command we had requires an X and a Y coordinate. The old move command was just an int distance, which is how far forward we're moving, and that's all our cherry is going to do, is just move forward. So we're using the original move command here by only putting in one argument. So this just makes the cherries move forward 10. We'll worry about what direction it is when we put it in, when we fire it from the ship. So all you're going to do is put in move 10 for your cherries and a semicolon. That's it. So put that in now. Okay. Now let's go to our pie ship. We want to make the pie ship actually fire cherries on command, right? So I'm going to create a method. I'm going to call, oops, not there. I'm going to create a method underneath the hit bananas command, and I'll call it fire public void fire on command. Okay, so we're going to fire when we hit the F key. The F key is not that far above the space bar, so we should be able to do them both, the space bar to accelerate and the F key to fire. So I want to use the if Greenfoot is key down. We've used this plenty of times before. I'll say if, and I'll do is key down. We've used this before. We want just the F key, so I'll just use the letter F. If Greenfoot dot is key down F, no semicolon, sorry. I'll do an open curly bracket and a closed curly bracket. Okay. So I want you to put that in now. If Greenfoot dot is key down F. Okay, so now what we need to do, we're going to have to put in cherry. Okay, so what we're going to do, there's only one cherry we're going to fire. So I'm going to go all the way up to the top, and I'm going to actually create the cherry up here above the act command. I'm going to create it at the very start. So I'm going to do cherries. We're creating a variable of the class cherries. We're calling it cherries lowercase. That's the name of the variable. Equals new. Seems a little redundant here. Oh yeah, I put open and close parentheses. It always seems a little redundant when we create a new variable of an object, but this is just how Java and Greenfoot does it. So I say cherries, which is the type of variable, cherries, which is the name of the variable, and new cherries, which is the class we're creating. This actually creates a new cherries class. Okay, so I want you to go all the way up to the top above the act command, or below where we put in the horizontal speed and vertical speed, and put cherries. Cherries equals new cherries. Okay, now let's go back down to our method here. Okay, And in my method, I'm going to go to my world again. You might wonder, why can't I just get the world at the beginning and reuse it every time? I've tried that, and for some reason it doesn't work in Greenfoot. You have to get the world every time you use it, at least as far as I can tell. So I'm going to say, again, the same thing we did before. World, my world, equals get world. Same thing we did. We did this before. I'll just type it in because... So we did this. We're getting the world again. This thing up here doesn't count because once we just get it in the method temporarily and then it goes away. We're going to need to get it again every time. So now we're going to do my world, and we're going to do another thing that my world can do. Before we removed object, this time we're going to add an object. And the object is going to be cherries, which is the name of the variable that we made all the way up here. Okay? And right now I'm just going to put it as 0, 0. It's not going to stay there. I'm going to move it to where I want it to go. But this is just... Now I could put it right on top of the ship, but there's a particular reason I'm not putting it right on top of the ship yet. I'm going to actually set it separately. And the reason is because I have to set it separately outside of the add object command, because the set location won't work here if the cherries already existed, which means if I fired it already and the cherries are flying through the air. So I'm going to set the location of the cherries right now. So I'm going to say cherries. Now this is so because I say cherries and because I put this period after it, whatever we do is actually my ship doing something, but the cherries that we created doing something. So I'm going to do control space. I'm going to do set location, which is going to put it on top of my ship. Now to put it on top of my ship, I have to get the x coordinate of my ship, which is get x. Make sure it's a capital X. Okay, and get y. Now this get x and get y is the x and y coordinate of my actual ship, because it doesn't come after the cherries dot, the dot with the cherries. This is saying for the cherries, set the location of the cherries to the x coordinate of my ship and the y coordinate of my ship. Now we also have to make the cherries pointing in the right direction, whichever direction my ship is pointing. So I'm going to say cherries, and then I'll do set rotation. And this is going to be the rotation of, we want this to be the rotation of my ship, which we can do by doing get rotation. This is going to get the rotation of my ship. So now the cherry is going to be on top of wherever my ship is, and it's going to be pointing in the same direction that my ship is. Okay? Now I'll compile it. Oh, forgot a parentheses there. So very important, if you say if Greenfoot is keyed down F, you have to put 2 parentheses there. So put another parentheses in there if you made the same mistake I did. Okay. So now I'm going to compile it. I'll run it. Oh, let's reset it again. Reset it so the banana's not on top of my ship. Okay, I'll run it. And I'll press F. Didn't work because I forgot to. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go up here and I'm actually going to put in the fire on command method, which I forgot to do. So I'll put in the fire on command underneath the hit bananas method. So I want you to do the same thing if you haven't yet. Put in the fire on command. Now I'm going to compile it. I'm going to run. And you'll see that I have 1 cherry and it starts again, so I can only have 1 cherry firing at a time. But my cherries don't kill the bananas yet. We want to make the cherries actually kill the bananas. So I have to go back to the cherries here. Okay. And what we need to do is we need to make the cherries kill the banana. Okay. So what we're going to do is we'll say we want it to see if it hits a banana, right? So I'll call it, so I'm going to need the world here, so I'll put in world get world equal my world. Oh no, I don't need that yet. I'm sorry. I'll just put this in. I'm going to just see if we hit a banana. So I'm going to do the same thing we did for the ship. I'm going to say actor banana equals, and we'll do the same thing we did with the other ship. We'll get one intersecting object. Equals. No, it's the same thing we did with the ship before. Okay? And what we're going to do now is we're doing the same thing we did before. We're saying, we're going to say if bananas does not equal no. Okay, so again we're saying if we actually did hit a banana, but in this case we don't want to remove the cherry, we want to remove the banana. Well, we want to remove the cherry too. We want to remove them both. So I'll say world, my world, same thing we did before, equals get world. We've done this before. Okay. And so put that in, world, my world equals get world, and then we'll say my world, and then we'll put in a period, and we're going to choose remove object, and we want to remove the object banana, which is the one we hit. Bananas. Sorry, I called it bananas. Okay? So this is actually going to make the bananas go away. We're also going to remove the bullet itself, right? The bullet's also going to be destroyed. So my world, and then we'll do remove object, and we'll do this, which is the object I am right now. Okay? So right now, if I run this, if I compile it, oh, forgot a semicolon here. If I compile it and I fire a cherry, it should actually destroy the bananas. Now there's one problem here at the end. You notice that my cherry, when it gets to the end, just sits there at the end, which we don't really want. We want it to go away when it hits the edge. So we got one more thing to do. I want to say else if. Now I only want this to happen if it didn't hit a banana before, because otherwise it's going to create an error. So I'm going to make it an else if. And I'm going to do a close curly bracket. Okay? And inside this else if, I'm going to say hit the edge. This was a method, if you remember the hit the edge method. Right? We're in the space actors class, so we have the hit the edge method available to us. Not equal to null. This means that if we actually did hit the edge. And again, we'll create the we'll get the world again. I actually probably could have just gotten the world up here and used it for both of them, but it's okay. I could do it either way. And then we'll do my world. Oops. And then we'll do remove object, and we'll do this, which is the cherry. This will make it actually remove the object if the cherry hits the wall at the end. And now we really do have a complete game. Can certainly be improved on. Like I'd like to, some things, areas we could improve, and maybe you could put these in as a challenge for yourself. Try and make it so that the bananas never end up right on top of the ship. That would be something you could try for yourself as a challenge. And then later on, on the next lesson, I'll teach you how to do something that's going to keep your score and a game over screen. So I'm going to hit run. I'll shoot. Oops. Oh, I died. Here. Start again. Hit run. Fire cherry. Fire cherry again. Fire cherry again. And I died again. Yes, I'm better at making this game than I am at playing it. So I'll see you again at lesson 12.